Talo for Lava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susanna Suisuki. Coming up.
There's been a lot of unexplained deaths attached to it, but it's so many things that are unreported here in this country.
Fiji's minister insists the government can put a stop to the drug crisis. Also,
I know sometimes we're at a crossroads when we think of the financial future of our countries and the future survival of our heritage.
Tuvalu joins the call to put a pause on deep-sea mining, and
I think it's very easy to forget how relatively new machine translation as a field is.
Google Translate adds a few more Pacific languages. A warning, some listeners may find this first story distressing. Fiji's Home Affairs Minister says poverty is driving the drug crisis in Fiji, but he insists the government can turn things around. Bio Tikonduadua's comments come as police investigate footage posted online of a young naked woman begging for a hit. The shocking video prompted Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka to issue a public warning about the danger of doing drugs over the weekend. Margot Staunton reports.
The video is the latest in a series of drug-fueled incidents in Fiji that have gone viral on social media. Fiji's Home Affairs Minister, Pio Tikonduandua, says the videos are proof the government needs to act.
Incidents as such, they highlight the urgent need to address the drug crisis comprehensively here in Fiji.
The founder of Drug Free World Fiji, Kalesi Volatabu, says drug-related deaths and substance abuse is grossly underreported in the country. Ms. Volatabu says children as young as 10 are using illicit drugs and daily arrests for drug possession are common.
There's been a lot of unexplained deaths attached to it, but it's so many things that are unreported here in this country. We're not capturing everything that's happening on the ground.
Ms. Volatabu says the high demand for drugs is exacerbated by their affordability.
In one incident, we heard, how much is it to get ice on the street? Because, 5 years ago, it was $50 for a point. And they said, nah, like $5, you give $5 and they can give you a shot.
Mr. Tikonduandua says he believes social and economic issues, such as poverty, could be driving drug use.
One of the issues that government is really working at is trying to understand and resolve the issue of poverty, which we have been highlighting for a very, very long time as being the area of neglect of the past government.
Mr. Tikonduandua says it's not too late to deal with the crisis and a national narcotics strategy is in place, which includes a special rehabilitation centre in Suva. Assistant Commissioner of Police Operations, Levi Drew, says the need for this is urgent.
I'm calling for a reform. We can have the same structure that you have back there in New Zealand within our organization structure. From my personal point of view, this is urgent. We need rehab centers for us to grill and deal with the people that have been affected by this hard drug that is in the country now.
Assistant Commissioner Drew says the main focus for police right now is working with stakeholders to reduce supply.
We are trying to reduce the supply reduction of drugs that are coming in from overseas. Fiji just uses a transit point because the consignment belongs to other countries.
Fiji has established a reputation as a hub of illicit drug trafficking as authorities try to grapple with transnational crimes. In October last year, the former Vice President of the country's Football Association was jailed for 4 years in New Zealand for illegally importing millions of dollars worth of pseudoephedrine, a chemical used in the production of methamphetamine.
Tuvalu has joined the call for a precautionary pause on deep-sea mining at the International Seabed Authority Assembly meeting in Kingston, Jamaica. Guatemala and Honduras also backed a precautionary calls on Tuesday, bringing the number of nations supporting some sort of pause or moratorium to 31. Caleb Fotheringham has more.
The representative for Tuvalu says the government remained cautious of seabed mining developments and that there is not enough scientific information to understand the complex web of life in the deep sea. The statement followed Vanuatu's Minister for Climate Change, Ralph Regenvanu, calling on small island developing states to value the ocean over profit.
I know sometimes we're at a crossroads when we think of the financial future of our countries and the future survival of our heritage. But we have to remember that before any financial exploitation, our connection to our oceans is one that is deeply spiritual.
A recent study published in Nature Geoscience shows oxygen is being emitted from polymetallic nodules on the seafloor in the Pacific Ocean's Clarion-Clipperton zone. Mr. Regan-Vanu says it shows there needs to be more research on the deep sea.
This scientific revelation underscores the need for a moratorium or precautionary pause on deep sea mining as the only responsible course of action. We acknowledge that we currently do not have sufficient scientific information to better understand the complex web of life and biological diversity of the deep sea.
Palau is another nation calling for a moratorium. President Sarungal Whips Jr. says the globally shared seabed is at risk of being destroyed and sold for profit, benefiting only a select few.
This is colonialism by another name, economic imperialism, and where multinational mining companies prioritize profits over the well-being of our people and ecosystems.
The mining industry sees the metals sitting on the sea floor as being crucial for the world to move away from fossil fuels to electricity. But Mr. Whips believes there is evidence for other options like recycling and advancing land-based extraction.
Let us not, in our haste to solve one problem, inadvertently and thoughtlessly create another. We have been down that road before, and hence my country and many other small island developing states now find ourselves on the front line of climate change.
The Pacific is still divided on deep-sea mining, with nations Nauru, the Cook Islands and Tonga all interested.
The chief of Federated States of Micronesia's most remote island is calling on senators in the Congress to approve funds to build a major seawall. Solomon Lawson says Kapinga Marangi has been battered by climate-related disasters for decades. Last year, homes were washed away and their taro patches damaged. Mr. Lawson told Lydia Laws his community is extremely vulnerable to the impacts of the climate crisis.
We've been having this problem for so many years. We've been hit by a tidal wave, and it caused a lot of inundation of salt water into our taro patches. We're trying to get some money to help build and make it safe for the future.
What materials will you use to build this seawall?
Things like cement. We just use stone, and then we can put the cement and patch them up and form a seawall.
How much money is needed to build this cement and stone seawall?
80,000 or less than 80,000, it's okay.
Does the government fund these types of seawalls, or are you having to seek funds from elsewhere?
Yeah, according to us, our budget for 1 year is very small. We only, for the operation of our island, Kapinga, is somewhere around 89,000. That's for the municipal operation. And we have only small projects like renovating our office, because we don't have enough money to make big projects like building seawalls and so forth.
So your total annual budget is $87,000 US, is that correct? And you need around 80,000.
No, the 89,000 is our share from Phone Bay State. That's our 30% share for the other islands municipal operation. That's only for the operation to pay for the employees and the whatever is needed to run our government smoothly.
And is there any allocation for climate-related issues, including seawalls? Is that supposed to come out of your operational budget?
Our budget is very small. Our employees' total amount for 1 year is around 50-some thousand. That's including the office of the chief magistrate, the staff, and the municipal council, including also the staff. We have 10 council members and 3 staff for the council. And for the office of chief magistrate, we have 6 employees. We only make small projects, like I said, because we don't have enough money. But sometimes we can seek assistance from our senators in the Congress. But we tried that, but we're still waiting, and there's no response.
What is your message to the senators in regards to the funds? How desperately is this needed?
Yeah, we just tell her to allocate some money or that project.
Are you seeking donations from external or private donors as well as government to fund the seawall?
No, we don't do that. I don't know anything about that, about donors.
How many people are currently on island and how many people are off island?
All the people on island, 150, and those people all are more than people living on this island now. Maybe 3,000, 2,000 something.
And have people left because of climate-related issues?
Yeah, some they're just looking for jobs on other islands.
And what about housing? Is that an issue because of sea level rise? Has the ocean damaged homes?
Yeah, especially on the side, the seawall side. That's the main problem we have on the shoreline. And sometimes the water get up to the taro patch that are located near the shoreline.
And because the taro patch has been damaged, what do you eat? What issues in terms of food are there?
We reported to the governor, our governor, and I made a declaration declaring the problem to the governor. And after the wave is gone, and then the governor sent some food for the people of the island.
Is the food that has been sent as healthy as taro? I presume they would have sent the likes of rice and tinned goods. Is it as healthy?
No. Like what you said, no. Taro is much healthier. Local food is better than the rice and ramen and all this kind of flour.
Have you noticed health issues because of this change of diet since the climate has damaged your taro patches?
Yeah.
An engineer at Google Translate says technological advances in recent years are making it possible to add even more languages to the app and improve the quality of translations for its existing languages. Last month, Google Translate announced 110 new languages were being added, including a few from Micronesia, Polynesia, and Melanesia. Isaac Caswell told Koroi Hawkins adding more Pacific languages is something they've wanted to do for a while now.
Many of the languages of the Pacific have been overlooked or missing from a lot of tech, but especially, of course, I noticed Google Translate for quite some time. So I've been hoping for quite a while to add them in, and I'm glad that we finally got an impartial coverage of some of the more requested languages from that region.
Could you go through that list for me?
So we are adding Fijian, Tokpisin, which incidentally, although mainly spoken in Papua New Guinea, I hear you're from Solomon Islands, and I know the variety we have does mix in some of the Solomon Islands pidgin as well. We also added Chukese from Micronesia. We added Chamorro from Guam, Marshallese from the Marshall Islands, Tahitian from Tahiti, and Tongan from Tonga Islands.
Yeah, no, I must say I was really excited about the Tokpisin being in the mix as well. How is this possible, and is it because of technology that it previously wasn't possible, and what makes it possible now?
I think it's very easy to forget how relatively new machine translation as a field is. I mean, even computers they've only been around for 50 years or so. And machine translation, you may remember the earlier days of Google Translate, even for the highest resource languages, German, French, it really was quite approximate because translation is very difficult. And it's only been in the last 5 to 10 years that we've really figured out how to make translation work well at all. And of course, technology is just ripping forward at an amazing pace. So now there's all this AI stuff. And each new year, the technology advances and there's more things we can do. So I looked into adding a lot of these languages about 5 years ago. And back then, technology wasn't quite there, but it's advanced now. It is.
That's great to hear. And maybe a bit to the the way Google Translate is intended to be used?
One of the interesting things about language is that everyone uses it constantly for everything. So when you actually look into what people use Google Translate for, it's a really wide spread of things. So there are a lot of people who use it for language learning. Of course, you can't always trust exactly what you see, but it's still a very helpful tool. I myself use it as an aid for language learning. There's native speakers of languages or even professional translators who use it as a point of reference. You know, they can translate themselves, but it's useful to be able to see what this outputs so you can get inspiration or post it on top of it. There's a lot of uses within technology as well. So if someone wants to automatically make their website work in a different language or make search find terms better in a different language, they can use it that way. Then, of course, there's the classic traveling. Either you're traveling to a place where you want to translate it to your language, or someone's coming to your place, like you want to read the menus. Really, there's a very wide range of things people use it for.
In terms of the Pacific languages, is there any human input, academic-specific language speakers, or is it all technology that goes into the back end of this?
It's not possible to do anything with only technology. For one thing, you have to verify that the technology is working. So for all of these, we consulted speakers, and the two main things they could help with was providing translations to help teach the model, and also evaluating the model and telling us, if it's doing the right thing. And we also did consult professionals about things like naming, which is very tricky. An example is chamorro. Like, there's two official ways to spell it. One is the way the government spells it, and one is the way the chamorro language institute spells it. And it's sort of like, it's very hard to make these decisions, but we try to talk with people and at least do the best we can.
Looking forward, it sounds like an exciting field, and as you say, getting more and more sophisticated as we go. Is there any more Pacific languages in the pipeline? Any advances in the technology you're looking forward to? What else can we do other than what we're currently able to do with Google Translate?
Yeah, so after this current launch, my first focus is just to try to improve the quality of the languages that we added. And the technology, meanwhile, is rushing forward. And I'm sure that pretty soon we'll be able to do a lot more, add more languages, improve the quality of the existing ones, bring it beyond just translation to other tasks. It's anyone's guess where the ball is going to stop rolling. But right now, the technology is making big bounds every year.
And just finally, just tidying up for my own notes, the tech that's been employed, I think this might be in the press release, but the tech that's employed to make this particular round of languages possible, are you able to name that or explain to me what that is?
Yeah, so the core technology is something we developed about 2 years ago called unsupervised translation. We took sort of our existing approach there and integrated it into large language models. So many of these languages are launched using what's called PaLM 2, which is sort of an earlier version of Google Gemini. I know this is very vague, but basically you get lots of text in the language along with examples of human translations, and then you have the model sort of figure out the rest.
That's Pacific Waves for today. To listen back, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, tofa soifua.